Close your eyes for a moment and imagine this. It's a warm summer night in the year 1678 AD. You're a sailor aboard an Arab warship, part of a massive fleet surrounding the great city of Constantinople. Your commanders have promised you victory. They've promised you the riches of the most powerful city in the world. But then you see it. A strange glow on the horizon. Orange. Flickering. Coming from the Byzantine ships ahead. And then, without warning, the sea itself catches fire. Not just the ships, not just the sails, the water. The actual water is burning, and it's spreading towards you like a living thing, like a demon crawling across the waves. You try to escape. You dive into the water. But the fire follows you. It sticks to your skin. It burns hotter when it touches the water. This was Greek fire, and tonight, I'm going to tell you the story of the most terrifying weapon of the medieval world. A weapon so powerful, its secret was protected for centuries. A weapon that changed the course of history. Let's go back a little further. To understand why this weapon even existed, picture Constantinople in the 7th century. This city was the last remnant of the once mighty Roman Empire. Everyone else called them Byzantines, but they still called themselves Romans. They were surrounded by enemies on all sides, Persians to the east, Slavs to the north, and now a new and terrifying force, the Arab Caliphate. The Arabs had already conquered Persia, Egypt, and Syria. They were unstoppable. And now they wanted Constantinople, the jewel of the Mediterranean, the bridge between Europe and Asia. In 674 AD, Arab fleets began besieging the city. Year after year they returned every summer, blockading the harbors, cutting off supplies, waiting for the city to starve and surrender. The Byzantines were desperate. Their empire was crumbling. Their armies were exhausted. They needed a miracle. And then a man arrived with a secret. His name was Callinicus. Some sources say he was an architect. Others say he was a chemist from Syria, a refugee fleeing the Arab conquest. But what we know for certain is this. Callinicus brought with him a formula, a recipe for something the world had never seen before, a fire that couldn't be extinguished. The Byzantines called it Greek fire, though they themselves referred to it simply as liquid fire or sea fire. And in 678 AD, they were about to unleash it for the first time. Now imagine you're on those Byzantine ships, preparing for battle. You've been given strange equipment. Bronze tubes mounted on the bows of your ships. Siphons, they call them. They look almost like the mouth of a dragon. Inside these tubes is a mysterious substance. Thick, oily. It smells strange, like sulfur and something else you can't quite identify. Your commanders tell you, when you see the Arab fleet, aim these siphons at their ships. And whatever you do, don't let the fire touch you. The Arab fleet approaches. Hundreds of ships. They're confident. They've been winning this war for years. And then you release it. A stream of liquid shoots from the bronze siphon. The moment it hits the air, it ignites. A roaring jet of flame erupts across the water, arcing toward the enemy ships like a dragon's breath. The Arab sailors scream. They've never seen anything like this. Their wooden ships catch fire instantly. The sails turn to ash in seconds. Men dive into the water to escape, but the fire follows them. It floats on the surface of the sea. It burns on the water. Some men try to splash water on the flames, trying to put them out, but this only makes it worse. The fire burns hotter. It spreads faster. Panic tears through the Arab fleet. Ships collide with each other trying to escape. The carefully organized battle formation collapses into chaos. The Byzantines press their advantage, releasing more streams of Greek fire, turning the sea into an inferno. By the time the sun rises, the Arab fleet is destroyed. The siege is broken. Constantinople is saved. And the world has just witnessed the power of Greek fire. So, what was Greek fire exactly? Here's where our story takes a fascinating turn. 'Cause the truth is, we still don't know for certain. The Byzantine Empire guarded the formula of Greek fire like their lives depended on it. Because it did. The secret was known only to the imperial family and a handful of trusted craftsmen. It was passed down from emperor to emperor, father to son, In whispered conversations behind locked doors, anyone who tried to steal the secret or share it with enemies faced not just execution, but eternal damnation. The church itself declared that revealing the formula was a mortal sin. According to Byzantine texts, Greek fire was a gift from God delivered by an angel to Constantine the Great, the first Christian emperor. To share it with non-believers was to betray God himself. And it worked. For over 800 years, the Byzantines used Greek fire to defend their empire. And for 800 years, no one else could replicate it. But that hasn't stopped historians from trying to figure it out. The clues we have are scattered across ancient manuscripts. Byzantine chroniclers describe it as a liquid that burns on water and can barely be extinguished. Arab historians who faced it speak of fire tubes and flame that sticks to everything it touches. Modern historians believe Greek fire was probably a mixture of several substances, likely petroleum or naphtha as a base, crude oil, essentially, mixed with pine resin to make it sticky, possibly quicklime, which reacts violently with water and could explain why the fire burned hotter when wet, maybe even sulfur or saltpeter. The key was probably the delivery system, those bronze siphons. They might have used a pump mechanism or perhaps pressurized the liquid using bellows, forcing it through a narrow tube where it was ignited by a flame at the opening, like an ancient flamethrower. But here's the thing. We can make guesses, we can run experiments, but we will never know the exact formula that Callinicus created that night over 1,300 years ago. Because the secret died with the empire. Greek fire was used for centuries. It saved Constantinople multiple times, in 1717, in 941, in countless naval battles across the Mediterranean. But as the Byzantine Empire slowly declined, so did the knowledge of Greek fire. Political instability meant secrets weren't always passed on. Civil wars meant craftsmen were killed. The formula became fragmented, incomplete. By the time the Ottoman Turks finally conquered Constantinople in 1453, bringing the Byzantine Empire to its end, Greek fire had already been lost for generations. But its impact on history? That never faded. Greek fire bought the Byzantine Empire time, centuries of time. And in those centuries, they preserved ancient Greek and Roman knowledge that might otherwise have been lost forever. They held the line against invasions that could have swept across Europe. They gave Western civilization time to develop, to grow, to eventually flourish into the Renaissance. All because of a secret weapon, a fire that burned on water. So tonight, when you look at a flame, remember this story. Remember that somewhere in history there was a fire so powerful, so mysterious, that empires rose and fell, trying to possess it or defend against it. And remember that sometimes the most powerful thing in the world isn't the weapon itself. It's the secret. Sweet dreams.